Let's turn our attention out of the Wizards, Dan. The team lost a tough one last night, but they've been playing well. They're 3-1 without Nene. Early returns are good without the big man. Can they keep it up?
I mean, it goes back to what I said last week. They play so many bad teams down the stretch. I think they definitely can keep it up because, like I said, clearly without Nene, they're still not a bad team. They're just kind of less good, I think. But, Monday night, they didn't have Kevin Seraphin. They didn't have Martell Webster. At some point, if you take all of those rotation players away, you're definitely going to see an effect. And Memphis is pretty good, actually. But they just have so many upcoming games against terrible teams that I think that, to me, it would be a disappointment if they don't finish above 500 with the games they have left, regardless of when Nene comes back. I just think that they have too much talent compared to these horrible teams they're playing.
And Adam Silver lining last night.
Adam Silver.
Otto Porter got some legitimately good minutes last night and actually helped lead the team to a comeback.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Porter seems like I don't know if
he's still
hard
buried.
to find a silver lining in Porter's season, I guess. But I mean, last night they were undermanned. They had no big men against a team that has very good big men in Memphis, and they still, they could have lost that game by 20 points easily, and they still made it close to the end. I think that's more encouraging than what Porter did specifically.
Dan, one of the things you posted on last week was Charles Barkley's comments about the Wizards, and LeVar, I want to ask you about that. Barkley still maintains, even without Nene, that the Wizards are the third best team in the East. Do you think that they can actually climb to that position in the playoffs? Is that sort of best case scenario at this
certainly
point?
Best case scenario.
With a couple months left.
That is best case scenario. But this backcourt is playing so well right now. I mean, we haven't mentioned Trevor Ariza, but he's playing like how he played when he was in L.A. and helped that team win a world championship. So
Gortat has been great since
they're playing some real inspired basketball. They look really confident, and if they continue to play with that amount of confidence and can get healthy and stay healthy, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, we talked about that with the Nationals. We're talking about it now with this team as well. It's their health. The health is going to be the deciding factor as to how well this team and how much of a push they can make down the stretch and being seeded. But the East is wide open. Outside of the top two with Indiana and Miami, the East is wide open. I think the Bulls are coming around even without Rose.
Yeah.
But
2 games behind the Bulls right now, the Wizards are.
And I think it'll come down to those two teams as to who if the Wizards don't have some type of collapse. We won't say uncharacteristic because characteristically they probably do collapse. But if they can maintain a slow burn, a steady build, I think that they'll be right where they need to be.
I mean, I think it is. I understand what Barkley's saying. I think though you might almost say that in terms of young, recognizable talent, the Wizards probably do have the most outside of the top 2 teams in the East. But you look at it, it's going to be the teams that are going to be the 3, 4, 5, and 6 seeds are going to be the Wizards, the Raptors, the Bulls, and Brooklyn in some combination. And all of those possible opponents have some kind of red flag for the Wizards. They've been really bad against Toronto. They needed 3 overtimes with Toronto having a million guys fouled out and gone with injury. So that's a tough matchup. The Bulls have been one of the best teams in the East since January. They've been playing great. And Brooklyn, you sort of have this sense all year that they're kind of waiting for when it really matters because they're all 70 years old. But I don't know that the Wizards would feel comfortable going against a team with that many kind of playoff tested guys, with all of the Wizards making their first playoff appearance. So I think that I understand what Barkley's saying, and I think maybe next year or 2 years from now. But I think that any of these potential playoff matchups are still pretty scary for the Wizards.
And that makes all the more important to be in the top 4 to get that first round home court advantage against any of these teams. Although they are 500 at home.
I think the Bulls are 24-11. I think in their past however many games that 35 games. So that's I think the Bulls are clearly number 3. But then the Wizards are sort of in that next group that Dan just talked about.
It'll be a dogfight down to the stretch. We'll see how that goes. And the next coming games, they got Utah at home, winnable. Then they're at Milwaukee. That's another winnable game. They could sort of maintain this momentum that was slightly stopped with the loss last night. Then they're at Miami. So
you mentioned finishing 500 for the Wizards. I think it would be a disaster if they didn't.
Really?
Well, I mean,
even without Nene? See, I would disagree with that. But these guys seem to be on your side. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the one thing that worries me is how tight the rotation is now. Because
Right.
I mean it's not like it doesn't seem like Whitman is giving anyone Nene's minutes except for the people who are already taking a lot of minutes.
Well, I hope to
It
see.
was
I mean,
sort of with Nene, now they're not.
I know it's because of Webster, but I hope to see more Porter. You know, he showed that he could play a little bit. I know that it's I know that's sort of a reach, but I'd like to see a little bit
He's
more
too
of him
much
down
in
the
the
stretch.
Giannis
here.
League
You probably catch him in
category.
It is a
Rio
tight
Grande.
rotation, though. You're right. We'll see how that plays down as the season goes
No,
on.
I don't mean. I just mean he's like Vesely in that you're like pulling for him. Like, yeah, kid, you can do it. But it's like he's the 3rd overall pick. It shouldn't be like that.
You're right, but he needs to get more minutes to prove that it's not going to be like that and just has established himself.